Hey, good morning, everybody. Good Tuesday morning as we are inching toward we're speeding toward the end of June. Here on this last week of June, we're glad you're out there and tuned in to the 2 best hours of local live talk radio right here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. So happy to have you on board here. And I know that a lot of you are listening in your vehicles, car, truck, or tractor. Hey, Tony. And what, I would like to have a tractor like that. Anyway, it's Mornings in Meridian. We're glad you're here. A lot going on today. Our guest is going to be Mr. Randy Carroll. He is president of the East Mississippi Electric Power Association. He'll be coming in today, and we'll be taking your calls and questions. But first, let's go ahead and introduce the whole team. Again, say hi to, here's the guy to our left who's got his finger on the pulse. No, wait a minute. He's got his finger on the cameras here this morning. Say hi to Rob Atkinson.
I'm watching you.
You sure are, sir.
You darn right. I'm seeing you here and there and everywhere.
Is anybody watching us, though? That's the thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's always somebody watching.
That's right.
I mean, not literally, all the time. Yeah. Big brother.
And because of the setup in the studio being moved to third seat, but he's certainly not third. He's first in our hearts. Say hi to Charles Frazier.
I think I'm third. That's all right. I can take it. Yeah, no problem.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, doing good. How's your microphone today? We've been trying to get it set for you.
Seems better. I'm not sure. We'll kind of.
We had the technicians come in. We had the cleaning lady come in, and she
we had one of those. We have one of those.
Yeah, got. Everybody should have one, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So, guys, did y'all have a good day yesterday after we left the show?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot going on here in Meridian. We had a bank robbery here in Meridian yesterday that we covered here on WALT yesterday. Just up the road at Citizens National Bank, had an individual that robbed the bank, and I think is still on the loose. So
still riding around.
Still riding around. So
what bike was that anyway? I think he upgraded to like a Trek.
Yeah,
it was a Schwinn. Then he went to a Trek after.
That's a nice looking Huffy.
I'm getting a better bike. I'm upgrading each time.
So, but yeah, we were
next time I rob a bank, it'll have a motor on it. No, I'm going to have to steal something I heard yesterday as we were out back at the retirement party here.
Yeah.
If one of the customers would have detained that robber, it could have been a citizen's arrest.
Oh.
I'm sorry. That's really just not funny, is it? Well, actually, I thought it was because that's why I borrowed it.
Anthony Devon says he's watching from the coast this morning. Hello on Facebook Live. So there you go. Got some folks out there watching from other parts of the world.
All right. Well, I'll tell you right now that's it's good that we have that. It's kind of good and scary that we're reaching that far.
Well, I think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough life.
We need to go international.
Yeah, tough life on the coast this morning. I'm watching from the coast.
Now, as much as I appreciate you two guys, I just want you to know something. If I were on the beach,
you would not be watching us. Oh, okay.
Oh, thanks a lot.
All right.
I mean, love y'all, appreciate you, but if I'm down there, no,
probably not going to happen.
No,
understand?
That's not it.
My feelings are hurt.
But goodness me, I'll tell you what. Well, this show is brought to you by some great people out there, and let's get started with our great list of advertisers, and we appreciate them helping us get the word out there.
That's right, like A&A Glass. Adam and Adam got it going on down there.
When that rock peck hits your windshield, I know how you feel. I know I've had it happen. But you can just calmly drive straight to A&A Glass, can't you?
That's right. Conveniently located downtown, 217 22nd Avenue or Sheila Ward Parkway if you prefer. Go see them. Of course, their number, easy to remember, 601-693-GLASS. They've got all kinds of glass in stock. They're the fastest in town, the cheapest, and they have great T-shirts too. But really good guys over there. Adam and Adam have been doing it for years. They're the #1 glass replacement company here in town and have been for 10 years running. Open 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. Once again, 217 22nd Avenue, really conveniently located downtown.
You know, there's a point to be made here. The fact that we've made jokes about the bicycle robber, the bank robber on the bicycle.
That's serious stuff. I'm not.
And then the citizen's arrest. You know, the fact that we're making light of these bank robberies, we shouldn't. It's because we're having so many of them. I mean, it's becoming the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And
if you lose your ATM card, I mean, it's Just go over there, grab your bike, and head on down.
Yeah, they said the
there's another one.
the suspect is a black male who's wearing a white hoodie, blue mask, black jeans, sunglasses, and gloves. He entered the bank with a handgun drawn. Of course, Crime Stoppers 855-485-8477. That's 855-485-8477. Of course, this happened at the Citizens National Bank, North Hills, right up here at the Winn-Dixie, a little after lunch yesterday. So, but that is a description. Of course, the Meridian Police Department, they released the video surveillance footage of that yesterday, and that's the description of the suspect.
Mm-hmm. So basically, to catch him, somebody's going to have to come forward and say they know a little something about somebody, because they're not going to get an ID off of a hoodie and
yeah, because they got the surveillance footage. I mean, it's a shot of him literally walking into the bank, so they got a pretty good shot of him walking in there with a description and whatnot. So basically, they're asking for the community's assistance to try to apprehend this individual. So
now they still put those dye bags in there. You know, the exploding dye.
It's been a while since I've robbed a bank, so I don't know what they do.
What has it been?
Yeah, I kind of got out of the business, and
I got you.
But I do, I've heard about those where the dye packs somehow go off. But
all right, there, Billy the Kid.
Roger the Kid.
Roger the Kid.
Roger that. Well, we've got a caller on the line. Let's go to the phones. And our number, by the way, folks, we'd like to hear from you as well. It's 601-485-9191, 601-485-9191. Get you right here with us. Go ahead, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are y'all doing today?
Hey, Zane.
Good morning, Zane.
Doing mighty fine.
I was just heading to work.
Good.
All this technology y'all talking about, it's pretty soon they're going to have it developed the way Rob's working on everything. Is you'll be able, not only will you be able to watch it anywhere in the world, you'll be able to host it from anywhere in the world.
That's right.
Well, there's a good point. I guess I could be on the beach and then kind of log in and start the show. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And they just have to find a new button monkey, or either I don't know, you can carry your laptop and have all your buttons there. So you can be the button monkey anywhere in the world.
I prefer to think of it as your daughter, all the way over in Arizona, could log on and hear her father give the hockey report live on WALT.
Now, that would be cool.
There you go.
She's a Coyotes fan, though.
Ah.
Well, there you have it.
And I don't know. I just never been able to get into the Coyotes. But that's her local team, so,
Well, yeah, she's got local interest there. That's good. That's good for her. I'm glad she's not just blindly following Daddy's allegiances there.
Yeah, and she goes to Coyotes games. I see pictures all the time.
Okay. Well, I'm first of all, I'm going to say I'm glad to hear you're going back to work, because I know that you've been on medical leave, and we're just glad that you're back.
Yeah, well, I've been working. I started back last Thursday.
Okay.
This is day 5.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Everything cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I work about 7-8 hours a day and go home, so I'm still, working half the hours I used to work.
Well, maybe that's a good thing to kind of slow you down a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of ease back into the longer hours. So,
once you've made your first or second million, you don't really have to work that hard for the third.
Yeah, but the only thing it takes a couple million to make $1 million now.
That's true. Truer words were never spoken.
Yeah, so, But one thing with the technology, the latency difference between the radio and Facebook is kind of cool, because if you listen on the radio and you miss something, it's better than TiVo. You just run to Facebook, turn the volume up there.
That's right.
Hey.
That's pretty cool there. So just don't have the radio and Facebook on at the same time.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that.
That gets real confusing there.
Unless you really love echoes.
Just adds to the confusion is really what it is. Yeah.
So, well, good for you. Of course, when we talk to Zane, we have to remind folks that he is our graphics guru out there, and a lot of good signage can be made by him. And what's the project you're working on now, sir?
Let's see. We're working on the ice truck right now, and we just finished some game kiosk at going to gaming center in Arizona, of all places.
Cool.
And
look there.
You swipe your little card and get your little points, or you swipe your card and get your credits,
You swipe
then,
your card, you get your credits, and they get your money.
That's
I like it.
that's
Yeah.
it. And then you play your games and spend your credits and get your little points on your card, and then you go back and get your little teddy bear.
Oh.
And
So it's a pretty cool deal.
or here's another idea: you go to the toy store and just buy yourself a teddy bear.
Right. For a lot
But
cheaper.
it is not as much fun when you do it that way.
You know, truckers have to have something to do when they're at a truck stop, don't they?
Oh boy.
Yep, that's it.
Well, I tell you what, we're glad you're out there putting graphics on things. When you said ice truck, is it the graphics or is it more of a? I know that you're a fabricator as well, so is it a repair of the actual
It's the graphics for the ice truck.
graphics for the ice truck? Gotcha. All right, well,
Then we
good.
got a railroad truck coming tomorrow also.
A railroad truck. Oh, that's
Yep,
these
it's-
trucks we see that are actually on the railroad.
Yep, that's it.
They get those
And
little wheels
it's
and they get on the
inspection
railroad.
'cause-
I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to take my vehicle and go down the railroad track.
Well, for about $45,000, we can put this set of wheels on your truck.
I thought
That's
about
all.
just letting the air out of the tires of my car a little bit and just kind of riding the rails with my own wheels.
Well, the problem is the rails are actually narrower than the wheels on your car.
Oh, okay. So the let's see, is that wheelbase? What is that called? I guess that's just width, isn't it? Mm-hmm.
The track width.
Track width. Thank you. Thank you. Well, sir, I guess I'll just have to forgive that. I mean, I'm going to have to let that go. I'm just not going to be able to ride down the railroad track.
That dream is dying.
Yeah,
is that what you're
yeah.
saying?
Hey,
Oh,
you
well.
know who decided how far apart the railroad tracks would be?
Was it the Bidens?
The tracks are actually
Hunter Biden?
the width.
The Chinese. The Chinese did it.
The tracks are the width of two asses.
I beg your pardon?
Hey, watch your mouth.
Wait a minute here.
Yep. They
Wait a minute. There's three of us here.
Back when they would put two asses pulling a cart.
Right. And you could say
And-
donkeys or mules, perhaps.
Mule wouldn't matter.
I think mules would probably be more like
politically correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Zane-
anyway, that was the width, and they made the tracks the same width as the wheels on the cart.
But I'm sure
And so-
there was some inconsistency in the size of the asses. Did I say that on the radio? I don't know, but anyway.
Well, you did.
Well, they got
I guess they had a government-funded study to figure that
I'm sure
out.
they did.
But it's 4 1/3
Average
foot.
ass size. Okay.
It's not your
Gonna lose
typical.
And
my
folks,
job.
this is why we want you to tune into Mornings in Meridian. You don't know which way we're
Somebody
at.
literally just
Is
turned
that
it on
why?
like, what?
What they talking about?
Yeah, those videos are archived, aren't they?
They are. They are.
Yeah,
Yes.
I need to go watch that.
Yes, that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a classic.
And of course, when the first
Mule
track,
width,
when the
yeah.
first tracks were put down, they said, "Boy, that's a wide." No, never mind. Okay.
A wide
Well, you
mule
know, it was
track?
a little dispute because there were several different sizes of the tracks. And they finally got
That's what I'm talking about. Man, I mean, we see that.
Well,
Well,
now,
anyway.
obviously, this is what I really don't like about you, Zane, is that I'm sure at some point when I'm sitting in my recliner at home, I'm going to get my iPad and I'm going to fact check this a little bit because I'm going to sit here saying, "No way, that's how."
Yeah.
This isn't how they
Fact check
came.
it.
That isn't how they came up with the gauge of the rails on the railroad track.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Well.
Go research it. You'll find out.
Okay. Well,
It goes back to a Roman ass, actually.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
now
Goes
listen.
back to the days of Rome.
Italian ones. All right.
Well, now that just, the railroad was kind of engineered, I thought, here in the United States. Am I mistaken?
Not really.
I mean, if
You
you're
know,
going to get
like
into
a-
this topic, if you're going to be the expert on the rail width, you got to know where at least was engineered and started.
Well, it's just like merry-go-rounds. Carousels ran the other way. And then, so we take the idea of just a standing horse going around in circles, and we made it go up and down because we're Americans.
Yeah.
And then we also made it go the other way because we're not going to go the same way as a bunch of Brits and French.
And how did they decide how far apart to make the horses on the carousel? I should never have
Well-
asked that one. Never mind. Anyway, glad
I'll
you're
have
back.
to research that one.
Glad you're back at work, and I think there's some that might even be glad you're back and able to call in and let us have these reports. So thank you for that, Zane.
You guys have a wonderful day, and we'll talk about Ferris wheels tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I'm calling in sick
We
tomorrow.
must. Thank you, sir.
Roger, you got a hello from someone here on Facebook. Deborah Melissa Burke Ezel says, "Hi, Uncle Raj."
Well,
Right.
all right. Well,
Yeah.
hey there. Good to hear from you, Deb.
There you go.
This is great.
So see,
Yeah. So
you're everywhere.
well, now close your computer off and go back to work. Okay, don't get fired here.
Sound advice from the uncle.
There you go.
Don't get fired. Yeah. Wouldn't recommend it.
See, this is what I'm
Send her
afraid of.
money
You
down.
know, first of all, there's been a certain anonymity to this job with people that I know outside of this circle here. But
Yeah.
now
She
now
says,
it's-
"Love the show."
Oh, well, good deal. Well, who doesn't love a show where you start talking about railroads and mules and their backsides? Okay. Morty, but maybe with us being here, maybe that's a fitting thing. Getting back to just a little housekeeping here in town, and we've had a comptroller who's been part of our organization here upstairs. Radio stations, kind of interesting here. All the money comes in the mail on the bottom floor, goes up to the top floor, and goes out.
Right.
I always told him to close the windows,
Yeah.
but Mike Sterling, who I jokingly told him, I said, now upon his retirement, and we had a little retirement celebration.
Yeah, it was great.
In the parking lot outside at 3 o'clock.
I wasn't invited.
And the night you didn't sign up on the sign-up list that was on the back door there.
Nobody told me about that list. I think you hide it. Take it down. He's here. Yeah.
Like you would have been there. But anyway,
That's true.
yeah,
Fair
come
enough.
on.
Yeah.
But
Good point.
it's 26 years with the company, and he's a great fellow. Has been a good part of the organization in which we've all been a part of here, and just pleasure knowing him and wish him the best. I told him, I said, now once you get off the payroll, you can feel free to call in the show and make all kind of snide remarks.
I
right.
got to share a quick Mike Sterling story. He's going to be here a couple of more days. I think he's going to finish out on Friday. And
Last day of the month.
when I was doing Meridian High football on one of the stations down the hallway, big ball game. We were playing Oak Grove out at Ray Stadium, and it was the year Meridian won the state championship. That was in '09, and it was a packed stadium, big atmosphere. We're getting ready to go on the air. Well, something's wrong with our equipment. We're like, what's going on here? We're trying to figure it out. And that was back when we used to do everything through cell phones. We kind of changed our technology with the broadcast now. So we try to make the phone call, and the phone call will not go through. Well, someone did not pay the cell phone bill. So I'm panicking. I'm like, what are we going to do? Mike just happened to be at the football game. And if you've ever been to Ray Stadium, the press box is a little higher up, obviously. Mike was sitting up, pretty low down in the stadium. I screamed at the top of my lungs. I'm like, Mike! And about 7 or 8 Mikes turned around,
Yeah, it's a
and
common name.
I just said, Sterling!
Not you.
And he
people.
comes running up those steps. I'm like, and I tell him what's going on, and luckily he took care of it. So that was always my
Wow.
and he got it all squared away. And we jumped on the radio as soon as the ball was kicked in the air. So I was like, that was perfect
Just in
timing on Mike's. And of course, Meridian
There's the
wins. Meridian wins the game and goes on to win state. So
Saved the day.
Mike always chuckles at that story, but he shared a lot of good stories out there yesterday, and wish him the best. He's
Absolutely.
been a staple here in this building for a long time. So
He would be missed. As a radio station owner, when I was in that business, of course, it was always discomforting when he would say, Roger, do you have a moment?
yeah.
Come up to my office and...
No, I don't. Yeah, very busy. No time.
Or he'd say, we get a phone message said, Roger, this is Mike.
When you get a chance.
Can you call me at your earliest convenience? Every time I got that, I was like, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. There's something fixing to cost me.
Well,
here.
and that's the thing about working in this business, a lot of people that work behind the scenes, you just don't know about. And that's one of those who's been here a long time. Our sales representatives, folks
Yeah.
upstairs in that department. I mean, it's a lot of good folks. So
All right. As you can see, we've got our next guest
Yeah.
walking in the room there. Just want to warn you, you are on video, so just be aware of that, sir.
That's right.
he's like,
All right. Just
Rude
want
gestures.
full disclosure here. But we're going to miss Mike, and of course he is free to check in on, and he probably will. He likes to. He would from time to time listen to the show and let us know what's going on.
absolutely.
So that's good. 601-485-9191 is our talk line. We got a couple of minutes for a call. Good morning.
Mega morning, true American patriots.
Good morning,
Hez.
Hez. The Right Reverend Hazmat.
Well, we've got us a little crime spree going in Meridian, don't we?
Yeah.
Ooh, you reckon?
Yeah, we were covering that bank robbery yesterday, and I was like, here we go again.
Oh, yeah, and people that are in business are going to have to provide their own armed security, evidently. But it's a matter of time before one of these robbers, carjackers, or whatever, it comes into a store or is in a parking lot where people are armed. Then it'll make the national news.
I think as
I
a
don't know what
citizen,
the solution would be.
I think as a citizenry, I think that our community is devalued by lawlessness, and we as a citizenry it is incumbent upon us to take action to protect ourselves and properties.
Well, obviously it's happening now.
That's
I mean,
exactly correct.
we did have the incident on, what was that, Friday at the church.
Yeah, at First
Now,
Baptist,
that
yeah.
was a law enforcement officer, but still an armed citizen as he was in his citizen role. He was
Sure.
off duty.
That's
So,
going to happen.
so yeah,
At
I
some
think that
point,
we're going to
that's
see.
gonna happen.
Well, it's happened now already last week. But yeah, it will be an actual citizen and not an off duty
Right.
police officer. Yeah.
But I don't know what the solution would be. But, maybe we just, as citizens, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Maybe if the citizens march in the street or protest in front of City Hall, maybe they'll get the message that being safe and secure in person and property in Meridian is more valuable to the economics of Meridian and the safety of the citizens, of course, than a splash pad or some little sports complex.
Well,
You're going to spend money, spend it where it needs to be spent.
Well, and I hear you loud and clear, and I think we can have these things. We can have, if we will. Here's what I picture has. If you happen to be in a location where somebody was robbing a facility like a bank or one of your favorite places you like to hang out,
Yeah.
I don't see you sitting still and just letting the man walk out. Would you do?
No, if I figure my life's in jeopardy or somebody else, I'm going to dump the mag in him.
Well, I'm just saying.
No, we're not going to play.
Yeah.
And the way the state law reads is fear of your life and for the safety of others.
Well, sir, I tell you what, we are extremely glad to hear you, and I hate to tell you that we're going to take a break and then we're going to visit with Mr. Carroll, but I'm so glad you called in.
Well, great. Y'all have a great day. And anybody comes up with a good solution on the crime and the shooting problems, I'd like to hear it. Roger that.
All right. Thank you, sir. And we will take a break here. When we come back, we're going to be talking, broadband, electrical power, and storms. We'll be right back.
I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing
You
there.
got the connection?
I see what you're doing.
You got the electrical connection?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a sensitive song or topic to our next guest, but
Gosh.
I thought of REO Speedwagon's Riding the Storm Out. I know it's about a snowstorm, but our storms here are just liquid snow is what it is. Anyway, Mornings in Meridian, welcome back. Roger, along with Rob.
Good morning.
Charles is in the house.
In the house.
And we're going to be joined just shortly. Our next guest, of course, Randy Carroll's in the house as well, so we'll introduce him in just a moment. But let's say a big thank you to those out there that help make this show possible. Good sponsors like
Ready to Roof. We're talking about storm damage, or will be soon.
Oh, there you go.
This is a number to remember. 601-573-1150. Ready to Roof, our only award-winning local roofing company. They've qualified as Master Elite Roofing Contractors. Only 2% of all roofing contractors in the nation have qualified as that. And Ready to Roof, our local company, has. You can call them for a free estimate, 601-573-1150, or make an appointment online at ready2roof.com. Of course, they'll work with your insurance company, and they've got a great warranty, the best warranty for all their roofing as well. And what's great about them is they have financing options available. Low monthly payments. Think you can't afford a
Now
new roof?
that's
Nope.
cool.
That is cool. Yes, so give them a call today, 601-573-1150 for your free estimate. Ready to Roof.
All right, he is, well, I'll tell you this. He's the president of the EMEPA, the East Mississippi Electric Power Association, and he is co-sponsor of the traffic light at A Street and 22nd Avenue.
I'll sign up for that. How's that
Yeah.
work?
Cool.
I'm going to take some of that off of my shoulders here.
Yeah, it's all on you.
Because his corporate office is right there on that corner. And let's say a big hello to our friend, Mr. Randy Carroll.
Thank you for having me today.
Come on in here. Good to have you here, sir. You know, when I think about the job that you have, and that is heading up EMEPA, East Mississippi Electric Power Association, that's a pretty tall order.
It is. We're a longtime partner in the community. We have a reputation that we're proud of in the community, and it is a responsibility that I recognize being the face of EMEPA. And we take that, do not take that for granted.
Well, there you have it. Now, when I think about, of course, the position you have, you've been with the MEPA a while. Kind of give us a little background about your career path, I guess you will.
I've only worked there 45 years.
Is that all?
Wow.
Kind of the new guy on the block.
I'm the new guy. I came to EMEPA at age 19.
Wow. Okay.
Shortly thereafter, discovered my dad was correct. I really should have gone to college.
I hate it when that happens. Dad, you were right.
You know, and so for 10 years, I went to school at night after having worked all day at EMEPA. MCC was the number one spot. Did 5 years there. Did 5 years with MSU Meridian, and I'm so thankful for the schools that we have in this area that allowed me to get a degree that gave me the tools that I needed to do future jobs at EMEPA up to the one I have now.
And when you started with the EMEPA at 19, what was your job title?
I was a draftsman
Okay.
doing maps.
Okay, maps. I was just trying to think. You know, you don't always think about power companies needing draftsmen, but that's I guess that's an important function.
Drawing maps and work orders for new services and lines that we were going to be replacing.
Were there areas, you know, we go back 45 years, you'd think the whole county was pretty well covered by then. Were there any areas of the county that still did not have power at that time?
I
or?
do remember traveling to a home down in the Snail area that was the old dog trot home, and we were staking a power line into that home for their first time to ever have electricity in the house. The only reason they were buying electricity at the time was their old icebox refrigerator had stopped working, and they couldn't buy blocks of ice anymore to put in the
Gotta
refrigerator.
have cold beer.
And so they needed electricity for a refrigerator.
As recent as 40 years ago.
Wow.
Isn't that something? Wow. Good. You know, it just, you know, we forget sometimes that not everybody had power back in the day.
That's right.
And then none of us did, you know, if you go back far enough. But boy, do we take it for granted today. And
We don't like to do without it today.
you sounds like Sound like you have a good finger on the pulse of the people in your customer area there. Well, of course, when we talk about electrical power, and yes, when the power goes down, it's just amazing how we have become so dependent upon it now.
Yes.
I mean, as far as charging devices, even. I mean, now we're so tied to it. But let's talk about, I know there's a couple of things we want to really focus on this morning, because EMEPA has, over the last couple of years, taken on the daunting task of getting broadband internet to remote homes, kind of like getting electricity back in the day to rural areas. You have been busy getting internet service to rural areas. So tell us a little bit about how that started and where we are now.
Okay. I don't think it's been quite 36 months since I was here on your show talking about the fact that we were going to move into the broadband business, that we had a 5-year plan that we had put together. It was going to be a $113 million project over 60 months. We would build almost 4,000 miles of fiber, and we believed that we would connect at least 12,500 homes to the broadband.
12,500. Okay. Wow.
Of course, 2020 is when that started. July 1st is when we created the business. That was on the heels of Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann challenging us to get into the business and providing, through the legislature in Jackson, providing the CARES Act money that was the spark, as we say, that lit the fuse for us to get started.
And we know that a spark is a very small part of the ultimate explosion. So how much money were you really talking about when it comes to getting on this program, or getting this program actually going?
Well, as I said, it was a $113 million project.
Wow.
We got $6 million from the state. We were successful in being awarded $38.6 million in RDOF funding over the next 10 years. Now, over the next 10 years is where the challenge comes in, because you've got to build the project first, which means you've got to finance it, and we've had to do that. So
you had to finance roughly $100 million.
A little over $100 million. That's right.
Wow. Okay. So, and of course, that's when you're building the project, waiting for finally somebody hooks up and starts paying the revenue stream.
That has not been a problem.
Tell me about it. You don't hear that very often.
No, you don't.
Revenue's not an issue.
The hooking up part. We, as I said, not quite 36 months ago, I came in here and told you we were starting a 60-month project.
Right.
We are finished.
Wow.
Are you serious?
We have built.
Now, I did not even know this. You've reached every objective you had.
The only two areas of our service territory that we have not built fiber is a small area in Winston County where the National Forest, it has taken us 18 months to get a permit from the National Forest Service to string fiber on our existing poles.
Mr. Carroll, you're dealing with the federal government now. Now, here in the federal government, Mr. Carroll, I know you may be big cheese down there in Meridian, Mississippi. You may have got your traffic light and everything. But now you're talking to the federal government.
But we do have that permit now. We're finishing up that last few miles up there. And then there's one railroad crossing that we're waiting on a permit for in Scuba that will allow us to finish connecting the Scuba area.
Mr. Carroll, you talking to a railroad company. Now, you might be big cheese in Meridian, but we're a railroad. No, that's great news, though.
Wow.
That is fantastic news.
In 36 months, we will have created a business. We also have passed the 10,600 connected services mark in 36 months.
Wow.
The installers are averaging 150 a week installs.
Am I seeing early debt retirement in the future?
It's on schedule, we'll put it that way.
It's getting there.
Well, I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, because I remember when this project started, and you were here on the show, and I remember talking to you in town, and it was like this was a big question mark. This was like, okay, because your annual budget at EMEPA before anything but related to broadband was how much money?
Well, when we began this, I tell people we had a $240 million electric plant that we owed about $45 million on. This is a $113 million project. And oh, by the way, that $240 million electric plant was built over 85 years. This is a $113 million project that we had planned to build in 5 years that we've built in 3.
Wow.
And we've borrowed over $100 million against that project.
Wow.
But now that project looking pretty secure.
That project's looking very secure. People want this service. It's needed. It adds to the quality of life in our community. As I tell people, you can't get an education off just the internet, but you can enhance the education you get at schools with additional study from sources on the internet.
Now, when we're talking about the idea was to get broadband to areas that were remote and did not have it, but you also serve areas that were completely serviced with internet capabilities. How many of those customers have you seen crossing over to the EMEPA service?
I have not had time to stop and say who's switching over. 20% of our area had a different provider in it when we started. 80% did not. The legislation that was passed in Jackson requires us to serve everyone on our system. We have to build to every system, every meter on our system. So we're focused on building, not on who's choosing who.
Right.
We have tried to keep our service. I tell people I want it to be simple. It's going to be one price. That is the price. That's the price from now, as long as we can stand it.
Now, Mr. Carroll, let's help you understand the internet business here. The best thing, based on what I see from other big providers, their names will remain nameless, but the idea is to multi-level the packaging and keep you as confused as possible so that when you pay that bill, you don't know what you're paying.
I hear that quite often. That you don't understand how to run an internet business. They're correct. I understand how to run a service business.
There you go.
And I have said for years, we don't sell electricity, we don't sell broadband, we sell service at EMEPA.
So there you have it, folks. That is an excellent report. And of course, when you talk about the level of service, I guess you know how much it would cost a customer to be on. What would it cost me to switch over to MEPA?
It's $69.95 a month. That's all in, built to the house, no upfront, no charges for devices that are sitting around. Everything all in. $69.95 for 100 meg up, 100 meg down. If you want to go faster, we have a gig plan for $99.95.
Okay, a gig. Okay,
that's fast.
I'll
That's fast.
I'll explain it to you later.
All I know is every time I get a gigabyte, my megahertz.
There it is.
I'm sorry.
Oh, jokey joke monster
Charles,
over here. I
what
swear.
do you think about all this over here? That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's great. I had a friend who worked for you for a long time. We were talking about that in the initial proposal, and I was a little bit skeptical of it. I was, why would an electric company get into the internet providing service? And I think that you guys have done just a fantastic job with it, and it really does provide a service for a lot of people in the rural communities that did not have that, and education is a key component of that. And, of course, there's the entertainment value as well, the Netflix and all that kind of stuff as well, which, there's no reason they shouldn't have those opportunities. So I think it's a great thing. And I think you've done a fantastic job organizing it.
I got that question quite often, too. The manager who hired me 45 years ago called me when we proposed going into this business and reminded me that we're in the electric business and asked me, why would you even be looking at this? And I responded to him that a Facebook page had been created out in the county, and it already in 6 weeks had 4,500 people signed up on that Facebook page, of which many of them had sent me direct emails asking us to get into this business. And he paused for just a moment and he said, well, if the members want it, you got to do it.
There you go. It's that service mentality. It's a cooperative that I guess you kind of tout the fact that we are members, not customers.
That's right. You are member owners of our electric cooperative.
All right, and it's just amazing that this project, which seemed so daunting there, 36 months ago, as you said, now ahead of schedule, on budget. I take it.
It's on budget.
There you go. That's good news. Rob, tell you what do you think about all this?
I love it. Out in our area, it's been, like you said, I remember when that Facebook page was launched. It grew just big, but you guys listened. You listened to the customers, and I think a lot of people have been very satisfied with the service, and it's very quick.
Well, that's what we're there for.
Yeah.
Our mission is to enhance member lifestyles, and our vision is to build pathways for community success. And this couldn't be any better pathway for community success than getting broadband out there.
Right.
And I have to share this, Randy, because you and I both heard last week that somebody who is very high up in another provider has EMEPA service at their home. So
Interesting.
I just wanted to share that. Now, as I said, I was very careful. Did I do okay with that?
You did okay with that.
Okay.
You did okay with that.
So
You get a thumbs
No
up.
names. Right.
Can
we get initials, maybe?
And he is a very good friend of mine.
And that's a testimony right there.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we got a caller on the line. If they have a question directly for Mr. Carroll, we'll let you through there. Good morning, caller. You have a question, a comment for Mr. Randy Carroll?
I can't believe you brought that guy up, Roger.
Oh, God.
What's going on?
Mr. Carroll, I heard you talk about the legislation that required you to service every customer on your route. Now, is this for every electric company in the state?
This is for the co-ops that chose to get into the broadband business. It was some language that was placed in the legislation that would, now I'll get off into my personal views, but I think it was intended to keep us from going into the business by some lobbyists who managed to get that language into the. They thought, okay, if we force them to go to everybody, they'll stop.
That'll scare them off.
They'll scare them off.
There you go.
Okay, well, but it wasn't forcing every electric company to get into the broadband business.
No,
okay,
no.
I understand.
Each one
you
gets.
come on at a time when, of course, Joe Biden. Let me ask you this now: how much federal money was just handed over to EMEPA for this project? They just give you outright. How much money did y'all get from the federal government and just giving it to you?
We're getting over the next 10 years $38.6 million from the FCC. That is money that was paid in through the Universal Fund that people paid over the years and is stored in a fund to expand communications and broadband. We will get that in monthly installments for a 10-year period.
Okay. Now, since Mr. Biden,
All right, one more question, Chuck. One more question.
all right, very dumb to compare broadband to water, but he did just that. We come up with a $400 billion program yesterday.
Yes.
Getting internet into everybody's house. So maybe you can apply for that and pay your debt off completely. Get some of that $400 billion he's going to give away.
That would
Thanks
have.
a lot.
That
Listen,
would
I'll hang
have.
up listening. Thank you.
That would have been nice, but the money that was announced yesterday, if you have already built in an area, you will not be eligible for that money, and it also cannot be used to pay off debt from a previous.
Okay, so
build.
that kind of leaves you out of that.
So because we've gone so fast, we're excluded from this future money.
Penalized for efficiency. That sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, you could look at it that way.
There we go.
Penalized for efficiency. Well, again, it's I know that if you go to the EMEPA website, it just comes up there. The world is just a click away, and you can contact EMEPA for East Mississippi Connect. That's fiber optics powered by East Mississippi Electric Power Association. And one of the big advantages you had, of course, as an power association, you already had utilities running, so you could utilize your own poles, for example, for getting the
That is correct.
The wire run and this kind of thing.
Now, we did have to change a number of those to get ground clearance. we changed out 3,300 poles across our system in about a 2-year time period.
I would have gotten them from the forest that's having a hard time getting across there.
Gosh.
Those people that won't let you through, I'd just go get the trees from them. That's what
Show
I
you.
The poles, that's right. I'm sorry. It's Mornings in Meridian. Glad you're out there. Brought to you in part by our good friend down there on, I'm thinking on Front Street. His name is Tony Southern Sportsman. And you can go by and just find out all kinds of things that you need by way of fishing gear, fishing tackle, fishing poles. Let's see, there's go to Tony Creel and get your reel. Is that the deal?
Rod and reel, Tony Grill. It rhymes.
There you
come
go.
on. Low-hanging fruit. But Tony's got everything you need for your outdoor adventures, whether that's hiking, camping, fishing, hunting, you name it, he's got it. Archery, yes, even an archery range down there underneath the 18th Avenue overpass. Go see Tony. He will set you up. And archery is the fastest growing sport right now in the U.S. Don't know if you knew that. But if your kid wants to get into it, or if you want to get into it, or the grandkids do, whoever, Tony can set you up. Size that bow, make sure that it fits for you, and then tune it. Tony the Tuna, just for your specifications. Go see Tony, 1724 Front Street. Give him a call, 601-693-4111. And, of course, he's open 8:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and again on Saturday, 8:30 to 1.
All right, it's Mornings in Meridian. We're glad you're out there. We're visiting with Randy Carroll. He's president of East Mississippi Electric Power Association. And we want to come back and talk a little bit about what you've experienced with the June weather that we've had here over the last few weeks. So are you able to stay by?
Yes.
Can you? We'll take a break for Fox News and then come back and talk
Yes.
about that?
Yes.
So we invite you to stay with us. We'll come back and talk with Randy about, storms and your response to those. I like one of the phrases you shared with me last week, and we'll tell the audience when we come back. But it's Randy Carroll, and the world is just a click away with the East Mississippi Connect. So check it out on their EMEPA Facebook, their webpage. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to Mornings in Meridian. That is the second hour now of the two best hours of local live talk radio right here in East Mississippi. Roger B. along with, say hi to Rob Atkinson.
Hey, good morning, sir.
Rob's keeping his fingers on the buttons. If you don't get to see anything during the break, that's his fault. He's hitting the buttons, not me. And
Well,
no.
all right, traffic light boy.
Actually,
Really? Yeah. Thanks
Traffic
for
light
that.
boy.
Oh, another red light.
Charles Frazier's in the house. No, that's a requirement. We have to shut the thing down during the break.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's why.
Legal stuff, you know.
Legal stuff.
The guys in the suits will come in and
Now, if you were to load up all the lawyers,
Black,
and
that sort of thing?
that's a different thing.
Oh, okay.
Charles Frazier's in the house.
Yep,
Good
over
to see
here.
you- good to see you, Chief. I don't know why I called you Chief.
I don't know. I'll take it, though.
You're good.
Yeah, okay.
Your chief cook and bottle. Your chief cook and bottle washer. aren't
Washing
you?
bottles. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. And of course, we're going to continue our visit with Mr. Randy Carroll with East Mississippi Electric Power Association. Thank you, sir, for taking time to be with us here today.
Glad to be here.
And of course, lots to talk about when it comes to electrical power. I'm a customer. You're a customer,
Yes, sir.
or a member.
Yeah.
And Charles, you are as well. So
I am, indeed.
And this radio station happens to write a few checks to you as well. So we're members,
Thank
so
you.
to speak. So there you go. We'll visit with you in just a moment, but first let's tell folks about, when it comes to power, it's nice to come home and flip a switch and have your power on. But your automobile, or your truck or tractor or bulldozer or things like that.
Golf cart.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just picked up my wife's golf cart yesterday.
So you have a his and hers?
Battery, we do.
so you're back to the two now.
Really? You're a two golf cart family? Wait a minute.
He's so bougie.
I know.
Well, Andy, we have two golf carts.
We want to
One for the
brag.
little lady,
right?
one for myself.
Okay.
But had hers repaired because it was getting
The
dangerous.
dog have one?
The dog gets to ride both of those.
Nice. Okay.
But we just picked it up at Battery One Source, and they did a fantastic job of actually some real physical repair on the steering mechanism and the bushings in the back. They just did an awesome job. So
Well, they're awesome folks.
but now they changed their hours. They're now open from 8 to 4:30 each Monday through Friday.
okay.
So we need to make sure we note that 8 to 4:30. And you can also call them and ask them any questions about batteries or anything. If you want to start something, go to Battery One Source. That's at 601-693-1500.
That's right.
Did I get that right?
You did. 2618 North Frontage Road, conveniently located in between exit 152 and 153. John Dufour and his crew got it going on. As you said, they got batteries for everything you need, even do cell phone repair.
Oh, Said's still there.
Yes.
Talked to him yesterday.
Yep.
I said, you still fixing those broken screens? He said, yep, sure they
Said he does. Yes.
Said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. But, of course, golf cart service and repairs you mentioned as well. They're the best in town. Go see him, John Dufour and his crew. They're the best. 2618 North Frontage Road, in between exit 152 and 153. Number 601-693-1500. And they're open 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. Change those hours.
Very
Don't
good.
blame him. Gotta watch Jeopardy. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you got-
Watch Jeopardy.
and remember,
Could be it. I don't know. Yeah.
and you remember, you can't watch Jeopardy unless Randy Carroll says you can watch
Right.
Jeopardy.
That's yeah. Flip the switch.
President of East Mississippi Electric Power Association, Randy Carroll, of course, welcome back. And we noticed that you say that you're a touch-tone energy cooperative. And we say that in our advertisements and whatnot, but tell us what that really means.
Touchstone is the national branding that we did years ago of the 900 co-ops in the nation. Many of are part of this Touchstone branding, and it's more for communities when people are moving among communities. Because we have the Navy base, we have a number of people that come into this community that may have been on a co-op somewhere else, and we want them to recognize that comparison of co-ops, and so that's the part of the Touchstone family.
Gotcha. So there are other cooperatives around the country that are part of the Touchstone
Yes.
group. Gotcha.
Yes.
All right, and I guess there are certain standards that you have to maintain and all the rest.
We are locally owned by our members. Our board is elected by our members. We serve our members. We set our rates and rules and policies and procedures and all that. It's just strictly a branding recognition.
Yep. Okay. Well, very good. Now we want to get in talking about the storms we had and the power outages and what your battle with that each season. But just to recap a little bit about the East Mississippi Connect, getting broadband to all the communities, we were talking during the break that, first of all, you are ahead of schedule getting home service, and you have over 10,000 people who have signed up for this service.
We have over 14,000 that have signed up for it. We have connected 10,600 services.
And your initial goal was
12,500.
12,500. Very good. So this project is a good example of something going right.
Yes. Yes.
And one thing we need to mention, Rob and Charles, is that Randy shared with us on the break that this is not a, quote, for-profit operation, not for, this whole cost structure for internet is you describe more of a kind of a break-even kind of thing.
Yes.
So explain that a little bit.
Because of the density in these areas, the other providers were not able to go into these areas and serve them. They have a minimum that they can go, and they have to make a return for their investors.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have investors. We have owners. And so we're able to go into these areas where we may have 2 customers per mile that take the service. If we're really, really lucky, we'll have 4 or 5.
That's not really attractive to cable companies because they don't want to run that much utility for those few people.
No. So our goal going into this was we just want to be sure this thing pays its way, that it is a break even, that we get to the point that it's covering its cost. And that's really all we're looking for, and probably all we'll ever see, unless we have a major influx of people moving into this area or something. It is our goal to just break even. Now, we do want to break even. My dad was in business for himself for a number of years, and he said you can only be nonprofit so long. And so so we have to at least get over that hurdle of paying the bills. And we're getting very close to that point right now.
Well, very good. And, of course, I noticed my last power bill, there might have been a little rate increase that we just experienced.
Yes.
Tell me the story and the reason behind that.
The natural gas prices have gone crazy in the world. And most generation now has moved in the direction of natural gas. And so you will see more fluctuation in wholesale generation, of which we buy wholesale power from Mississippi Power in Lauderdale and Clark counties, and we buy wholesale power from TVA in the Kemper and Winston areas and the edges of the 5 other counties that we serve a little bit into.
Mm-hmm.
And so as those natural gas prices at those generating plants fluctuate, you will experience sometimes increases. That is what caused this most recent one, was increases in wholesale power cost.
Okay. So just want my mother-in-law to hear that this is why you had a rate increase. And my wife, too. She gets the bill. I don't pay attention to all that stuff. So these ladies do that, which is good, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And you can go on our app and set up a notification if you would like. I have done this just so I can kind of keep up with what's going on. You can set up, if I exceed X number of dollars of usage per day, it will send me a note. Now, I've got mine set pretty low because I want to see what's happening at my house every day. Mm-hmm. And if you take our overall system and you compare usage, and I realize each house is going to use differently and so forth, but if you average it all together, on average, and you consider 2.5 people living in every house like the census says they do. I don't know where that half person comes from, but anyway.
I think he's up there on that. Sounds about like half a person.
Yeah.
You're looking at about $3 a day for the year, about $3 a day per person to have electricity. You can't go through a drive-up window anymore one time and get out of there for $3 a person.
No, that's true.
No.
So it's our intent to keep it affordable, but keep it reliable, keep it sustainable, which is becoming a challenge also.
All right. Well, reliability means, and this is something I'm just amazement about. And I know the fellas and the men and women that work, they get paid to do this, but when the dark clouds are rolling in from wherever, and this time they came from the north.
Yeah, you never know now when you look at that radar.
Yeah, we're running for cover. And your folks
are running for trucks.
They're running to the trucks to get out in the middle of this. So you've had an interesting month here in the month of June. Tell me a little bit about. You used a phrase. You said you've never What do you remember what you told me last week?
Oh, this most recent set of storms that came through, we started last Wednesday night. We worked 6 days straight, and we thought we were through 5 times during that 6 days.
Wow.
Because the storms were just that frequent.
Yes.
That's right. You thought you were through 5 times. But what's that like? I know that you probably watch the weather more than even we here at the radio station.
Yes.
But tell us what kind of kicks into gear whenever you start seeing reports come in about possible storm damage.
Well, the watching the weather, it's too late to kick into gear at that point. If you aren't trained on the front end, you don't have a plan in place on the front end, if you don't already know who's going where. So we already have our damage assessment team spelled out who's going to be going to which substations and going from there. We have 5,700 miles of power line in our service territory.
Okay, that's
you
a couple
could leave,
miles.
You could leave Chicago and drive to San Antonio and San Diego, and then back to Charleston, and you still would not quite have covered all those miles.
Wow. Wow.
And so when a major storm comes through that hits multiple areas, that's how much we've got to take a look at. We have about 125. We're trying to get back to 130 employees. So you can imagine the push to get out there and find what is actually broken. If June was the only time we'd face storms lately, it wouldn't be a big deal, but it seems to be coming pretty regular lately. Thankfully, we missed it night before last. Mm-hmm. But we did send 2 crews to North Mississippi to help them recover from the storms yesterday.
I'm fascinated about the reciprocal agreements you have for personnel, and I want to get into that. But let's take a phone call here. Good morning, caller. Do you have a question for Randy Carroll?
Yes. Do they own the solar farms around Meridian?
Do they own the solar farms around Meridian?
No.
Yeah.
We do not. The only place where we have participated in helping with the installation of solar panels is at NAS Meridian.
Yeah. What about the generator station on NS Meridian? Is that emergency station, or they run it all the time?
It is an emergency diesel operated station owned by TVA.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Is that solar power practical, or is that just a waste of money?
It's practical between about 10 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the first time I've heard it put that way.
Bye-bye.
Good call. You talked about a plant that a generation plant that you were paying on or had debt on. Does EMEPA have a generation facility?
No, we do not. It's distribution lines that we actually own the debt on.
Okay, distribution lines. I'm sorry. So no generation, because you're basically acquiring power from other companies.
That is correct. Our contracts with these other providers, TVA, Mississippi Power Company, are what are called all requirements contracts. Anything that we're going to deliver to the members of the EMEPA, we purchase from one of those 2 providers.
TVA or Mississippi Power. That's good to know. I hope we stay in good relationship with those people.
We try our best. And actually, we do have a very good relationship with both of them.
Okay, very good. I'm guessing that the people in the power industry, they kind of understand the reliance that some have on the others, or they have on each other, I guess.
Yes.
So.
And in the power industry, for example, EMEPA service territory, it's a certificated area that we serve. You have to serve everyone in that certificated area. Same is true for Mississippi Power. Mm-hmm. So you don't cross those lines without going through a great deal of trouble in Jackson getting permission to do so.
All right, a storm is just approaching. You've already had your planning. Everybody kind of knows where they're going to go. Once it hits, things start flickering, and what happens? What does the Army do at that point?
Actually, at the point that 50 meters go out, I get an email on my cell phone that tells me we've got power out. There are a number of people in
So that's just automatic?
Automatic.
Okay.
There's a number of people in the organization that happens with. We immediately kick into mode of, okay, how many people do we need? Where do we need them? Get them to the office safely. You might have to wait a little while. You may get in there pretty quickly. By a little while, I mean 30 minutes. It may take, to get to the office.
And
Okay. So if you get a lot of those notifications, obviously, still people are going to call and let you guys know that power is out. Obviously,
they do, but people have gotten used to the fact that the meter is calling for them.
Sure.
And we don't get as many phone calls
Okay.
as we did at one time.
Okay.
That used to be the only way you knew was people
Right.
started calling in.
well, since I have the smart meter, can you get me a meter that will block the robocalls that come into my,
That would be good.
if it's that smart, I could use that help. Just kind of block that.
I
But
kind of like to block all calls. Just do it all.
Do it all.
Yeah, why not?
so the day really to call the power company that your power's out that's kind of over, really.
We don't mind the calls. We take the calls, but we're going to know by the time you call, more than likely.
Yeah.
Now, technology is technology. You could have a meter that's not communicating. You could
Okay.
have something going on.
So precautionary. If you feel like you
If
need
you
to
feel
make a
that-
call,
yeah.
make it.
And especially if there's a medical issue that might. Most recently, we had a member who called and said, "My oxygen bottle's running out. When's it going to be back on?" We're like, "Whoa, wait a minute! Now you need to get somewhere. You need to find somewhere where you can, be dealt with properly."
Sure.
Ooh, that's important. Now, of course, I remember 1992, just stupid me, sleeping through the tornado that came through Vimville and getting up in the morning and, it's flipping the switch. There's no power. And, of course, that was
no coffee made.
that was 1992. We didn't have smart meters, and I was not a smart customer.
Right.
But I get on the phone. I want to report a power outage out here at Causeyville. It's like, yeah, get in line, fella. It's like,
You take a number.
there's been a tornado.
You and all these other folks.
But it's great the technology advanced that the meters reported immediately. And you say you get a notification
I
once
get
you
a
reach
notification.
50 meters.
If 50 meters at one time go out,
But what about if just one loses power?
just one, I do not. The dispatch will see it.
But they do see that. Okay.
Yeah, they'll
All
see
right.
it.
Very good.
At the point it gets to 50, I want to know about it. Last Sunday morning when all that storm was blowing through, I mean, my phone was just bing, 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 bing. It was,
So the teams are out there, and obviously safety is priority, but they're out in some pretty nasty stuff.
They are. They're facing the elements of the weather. They're facing, summertime. You're facing snakes that could be in the, and they're not too happy
Okay.
about the fact that something just tried to fall on them either. So
Just add that to the list of
Yeah,
why I
that's
couldn't be
the
a
list, yeah.
power worker. Okay.
Well, we talk about the severe weather we've had, but you guys have had to deal with the winter stuff too.
That's right.
That last little winter storm that we had, what was it, about a year or so ago? I mean, that was pretty tough on the
Yes.
crews getting out there.
it's becoming more regular. It seems like.
Right.
Okay, now the flip side of that is we're not expecting any inclement weather this week, but we're going to have excessive heat.
Correct.
So now people are going to be running their air conditioners more. So what do you have to do to accommodate that?
Well, you have to pay attention to what are the load levels getting to.
3-minute stations.
And is generation going to be there to supply those loads? We feel comfortable that it is, but we did experience Christmas Eve, in which on 2 of our counties we ended up with rolling blackouts. We had 15-minute interruptions. All 15 minutes you were back on. 15 minutes is manageable. It's not pleasant, but it's manageable. I hope this summer doesn't get to that point. We as a nation have gotten to the point where we're willing to tear down generation facilities before we build new ones. And to me, that is a very dangerous.
Well, I don't know how far you want to get political, but we here at this station tend to, at least I do. I won't include these fellas, but I think they kind of in step with me. Is we kind of really laugh out loud at some of the remarks that come from this whole green movement. So I don't know how that translates in your business.
I try to stay out of the political side and stay on the common sense side. The TVA systems where we had the rolling blackouts, and I went to their board meeting in Muscle Shoals as soon as that board was finally made whole again, had members back on it. And one of my comments to them was, a foolish man tears down his barns before he builds new ones.
Well, that's biblical.
And I'm not so much into what are we going to build, but we need to determine what we're willing to build and get it built before we tear down the old barn.
There you go.
because we still have to serve these loads. Charles, you were asking me about electric vehicles a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
You know, there's proposals to put more electric vehicles on the grid in America than we have the capability to serve. Those things have to be addressed ahead of time. Just like storms coming in, we need to know that ahead of time. We typically build the electric grid to handle 2 years, 3 years out. And so that takes 2-3 years planning ahead of time.
Okay. What would
So-
if half of the people in your service area wanted a plug-in at their garage for their electric car, what would that look like for EMEPA?
If half of the people on the EMEPA system installed chargers at their home, you would probably see a 50% increase in load on our system. So you're talking about distribution lines that probably are reaching capacity at that point. Transformers at the end of the street are reaching capacity at that point. The service coming into the house is reaching capacity at that point or exceeded, depending on the charger they choose. So you're talking about a lot of rebuilding that would have to take place.
That's I think that's the side of this whole electric vehicle
Yeah.
argument that we haven't been hearing.
Right.
So very good. Well, I tell you what, I know that we all have had a lot of questions. You've been very kind to answer these, but is there anything that we haven't touched on that you would like to our listeners to hear about EMEPA?
Just remember that we are here to serve our members. I would encourage people. August 8th is coming up. Our focus is on communities. Your focus needs to be on communities. You need to take a look at the candidates that are running for office. You need to familiarize yourself with what are they doing for communities.
You know, you did write an article and you make a publication. It still comes in the mail. I love it. It's paper. It's you can read it. You can read it.
He's like, you read it.
But you talked about well, the title of the article, of course, was "Season of Signs."
Yes.
And this had to do with the election season. So
Yes.
your message there was to basically don't sit on your easy chair.
We need good people making good decisions about good people.
All right. All who'd like to elect Randy for coroner, please say hi. No.
Stand in line.
I already have a 24/7 job.
We got a guest to make a coroner joke.
Yes,
This is good.
that's great.
That's good. Well, I tell you what. Well, thank you for the service that you provide. And one quick thing. I know we talked about the inter agreement to help each other out when there's a problem. So you said you sent some trucks up there, and I suppose you've had to solicit help from outside companies to come to our district. And
In
work?
many of the storms, we have done that. In the 6-day, 5 times I thought I was finished storm, we could not get help because it impacted the entire state.
Wow.
And so it came in on the west side, began causing outages. They began asking for help from contractors and so forth. So they gobbled up
Yeah.
the help before it got to us. And so we knew at that point we were on our own. Now, we could have gone to Georgia and beyond, but by the time they get here, we were pretty much getting finished every afternoon before the next wave hit us.
Jeez.
5 times
done.
we thought we were
No, we're
finished.
not.
Yeah,
We're
no,
done.
got to head back out.
We're not
Yeah.
done.
Here comes Mother Nature. No, you're not. Get up out of bed, guys. Get back out there. Well, that's fantastic. And we really do owe a big thanks to the men and women that keep that power on for us, because none of us, well, all we need is a little outage for a little while that reminds us we got to have this stuff. And so that's a big responsibility on your shoulders, by the way, to do that. So we thank you for
I've got a
taking
great
that.
team. Many of this team worked through Father's Day. Several on this team had new babies. This is the first time they ever were a father to celebrate Father's Day, and they celebrated it in a bucket truck.
Oh, goodness me. Well, that's dedication. Now, real quick, somebody, I am assuming like most people, you welcome people who seek, the 19-year-olds that want to get started in
Yes.
the electric power company.
Our community colleges have a program for training utility workers, and I would encourage anyone who feels a calling to this business, because if you don't feel a calling to it, you're not going to enjoy it. But if you do feel that it's somewhere where you can serve, where you are willing to get out there and serve in these kind of conditions, those community colleges have programs to train you, and you will come out of there ready to go to work.
And I imagine they supply information to these students directly to you, and you
They
can.
do.
There you
They
go.
do.
That's how you get it started. So, if you like getting up in a bucket truck, if you like the rain pouring down on you and the lightning flashing and snakes following you into your truck, this might be the job for you.
Yeah.
All right, we got one quick. Oh, I thought we had a call, but we'll go ahead and let that go. But Randy Carroll, thank you for your time. Congratulations on the success with East Mississippi Connect. And folks, if they want to connect to the EMEPA broadband service, you can do that by, I guess, going to your website, which is emepa.com.
That's correct.
All right.
Or eastmissconnect.com.
Or eastmissconnect.com. There you go. Lots of ways to get there.
There you go.
So thank you for your work. Thank you for your time here today. And we just wish you the very best, sir.
Thank you very much.
And just keep the power on. That's all I say. All right. Well, it's important for radio stations. Anyway.
It is. It
That's
is.
it. We'll take a break and we'll come back and take some of your calls, and we'll have some more discussion about this, that, and the other thing. Stay with us, folks. It's Mornings in Meridian. I like watching you walk away there, Lori. Lori Morgan, 64 years old today. So, happy birthday to you, Lori.
You could listen to her on our sister station, 105.7, The Legend.
Well done, Rob.
Yes, sir.
And, of course, we had REO Speedwagon riding the storm out when Randy was here. Well, where can we hear that song?
97.9, The Buzz.
There you go, Charles. Get in here on the mix.
The Buzz.
Let's see. Happy birthday for the 27th is yours. Let's see. What we talked about, Lori Morgan and Julia Duffy.
Oh.
Remember her from Newhart and Designing Women?
Okay.
She's 72.
Okay.
But probably still looks 38. Let's see. Here we have the Beach Boys. Bruce Johnston is 81 years old.
Beach Boys were just here, not too long ago.
They were, yes.
A month ago, I guess.
A couple months ago, went and saw their concert, heard the concert, saw it and heard it. Used both senses there. And, of course, smelled the person down the hall there. Anyway.
The person down the hall.
All the senses were involved.
Oh.
Yeah. Glad you're out
You
there.
didn't touch the person.
Charles,
down the
try
hall.
to keep up here, Charles.
Okay. Whoa, all the senses.
Stranger danger.
Now, I've got to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Are all Toyota dealers created equal?
I know who we're talking about.
I would have to say no.
There you go.
Wait, is that multiple choice?
That
yes,
is.
no?
No,
Okay.
just yes or no.
Well, I'm going to say no, and we know there's one up in Philadelphia, Mississippi, that is not created like the other Toyota dealers. They are fantastic. There is no deal like a Doc's deal up there in Philadelphia, Mississippi. They've got a huge selection of Toyotas, everything 2023 Camrys, Tacomas, 4Runners, Tundras, Highlanders, Corollas, you name it, they've got it. They've also got a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles as well, and they've all been through the rigorous multi-point Toyota inspection system, so you know it's a good quality vehicle. Go see them. They're up there on Highway 16 West in Philadelphia, Mississippi, just a short drive up the road. They got a great website, docstoyota.com, and of course, you can go see them from 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Just great folks up there at Doc's Toyota. No deal like a Doc's deal in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
No deal like a Doc's deal.
There you go.
Well, I tell you what, we've got a few minutes left. If anybody would like to give us a call, we'd love to hear from you. 601-485-9191. That's our talk line.
And get a chance to get your comment on your buddy Hunter Biden writing off stuff on his taxes, certain line items.
Like,
what was it? He was writing stuff off on his taxes for hookers.
Oh, really? Can you do that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Sex
I didn't know
workers.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought he wasn't even paying taxes. So
Yeah.
the ones that he chose to pay,
one
he
he
was actually
chose to
writing
pay,
off
yeah.
some other stuff.
so that would that be like
He
the
wrote-
salary for a temporary personal assistant?
He
Is
wrote
that-
them
okay.
He wrote him off his business
Fair enough.
expenses.
What business is he in? Yeah. Whoa. All right.
Well, he's in the Biden business. That's what
Biden
it is.
business,
It's
yeah.
pretty profitable.
The
for
family
him.
business. That's right.
Yeah.
So, I guess he'll probably have to, or has already paid those
Oh, get out.
penalties for that. Is that right?
What penalties?
What was it? There was a donor from California or somewhere that kind of helped bail out his tax liability.
There's a lot of stuff that's connected to the family right now, and I think there's some more documents that have surfaced involving the big guy once again. So,
Kind of, excuse me, guys, if I understand the tax system, if you owe $1 million or $2 million or whatever in taxes, and somebody pays that for you, that's personal income to you and is taxable. Is that right?
It should be. It's a gift. Yeah.
I would think so.
I'm just trying to say. So, have they paid the tax on the tax,
on the tax
gift?
tax.
That's right. Mornings in Meridian is so
Someone else will pay
confusing.
for that. And then I'll have to pay tax on that one. I probably has a Chinese donor that might pay that tax.
well, I mean, they were.
As long as Joe's sitting next to him. Hey, Joe's right next to me.
Well, they wanted
Tell
those
my dad.
87,000 IRS agents. They could investigate it.
Armed.
But, yeah,
Yeah.
armed, but that's not going to happen.
I'd be willing to bet you that if they did hire 87,000 IRS agents, not one of them would look at this case.
Of course not.
601-485-9191. Good morning, caller. How you doing?
Morning, guys. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Mr.
Ruth, how in the world are you doing today?
Well, I'm fine, but yesterday I missed an important point that I needed to make.
Well,
when
glad you
I
caught up with
got
us
into the
today.
beer. the
Oh,
beer we were talking
It's too
about
early for beer.
But when I told you about, I went to this function and they had the Confederate flag. What I forgot to mention, which was extremely important, is that they removed it and put the American flag there. And that was why I was saying when I said that, that they treated me, with a lot of respect, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I mean, I thought that was an excellent compromise. I think that, with people who are not ready to embrace the new flag for various reasons that they have, that's fine with me. But I knew that I would never be able to stay there or become a part of what was there if that flag had remained there.
Well,
and they realized that.
Ruth, was it the battle flag or the Mississippi state flag?
They put the American flag, a big, beautiful American flag there.
Okay.
And then we were able to go on and do what we needed to do. And I needed to mention that.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Hey, thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Hey, good call, Ruth.
So
On and off.
I don't know if that's if it was the old Mississippi flag, state flag, or if it was an actual kind of Confederate battle flag. Okay. Either way, it's kind of inappropriate to hang in a public place.
I think in this election year, I think the old Mississippi flag is a battle flag.
For some, it is.
It's going to be
rallying cry.
Yeah,
A rebel yell.
I mean, it's you really can't avoid the conversation. It's going to come up with some folks when we get into this cycle. So
And once again, it goes back to the power once given to the individual Mississippian being taken and giving into the hands of the representatives. And so I think that's the issue more than the actual flag itself.
The power to decide the flag, or
Right.
the seal, or various other official symbols of the state.
Yeah, before Katrina, they had a 2001 vote on the flag.
Yeah.
And Mississippians voted 2-1 to maintain the current flag. So, fast forward to, a few years ago, and we had what we had.
Yeah.
So,
But I guess my question would be is if there was never a referendum in the first place and they just changed the flag, would there be the same controversy? But that's not what happened, and so you have to look at it and say, no, that you can suppose and you can say what if all day, but it did go to a referendum, and then it was overridden by the state, by the powers that be, and so that I understand is really the issue. But
you're right. I think if you had not had the referendum, you probably would have taken some of the energy out of any revolt in regards to the flag.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I have to agree on that. I mean, a lot of people I think that I've talked to, I think it was the process of how everything went. Yeah. I think we've said it on this program a lot of times. I think that's how a lot of the community feels, and a lot of people feel the other way about it. I mean, everybody's going to have their opinions about the flag, but I'll be honest with you guys. When I wake up in the morning, I don't really worry about it. So I just kind of go
first or second on my list.
I mean, but for some it is, and I get that, and that's your personal beliefs. That's how you feel about it. But I think we got some pretty pressing issues.
Well, speaking of
that,
speaking of,
I'm sorry, but
what do you think about the most recent hubbub that was released by CNN about the audio from Donald Trump talking about the classified documents?
Right.
With Milley, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came out. Look.
Anyway, you barely understand it, but he's talking about making reference to sharing classified information with, I guess, a reporter or whatever.
Yeah, and that audio was leaked, and he did an interview with Brett Baer last week on Fox. It was a 2-night deal with Brett Baer, and that question was brought up with that audio recording. And Trump's defense, he said that he was showing them newspaper articles, magazine articles, that was his defense right there for that. So, and of course, he went on social media yesterday, went after the the council that's looking into the classified documents and saying, "Oh, it's just another witch hunt. They're releasing audio and trying to do this to me and do that." So, but so that was Trump's end of things.
Well, and I think that Well, I think that there was some violation of some laws that were committed, but I think that a lot of former presidents have a very cavalier attitude towards documents, and so he's certainly not the only one. And I think that there needs to be some tightening of those rules where we say this is what happens, and that it's very clear what's allowed and what isn't, and then those documents are seized as the president is leaving every time from now on, because obviously there's a lot of classified information and very sensitive documents that could be contained in all this information. What concerns me more is the conversation that Hunter had that was recorded saying, hey, my dad's sitting right next to me, and whether you act or don't, and daddy's right here. Now,
But CNN isn't going to cover that story.
But I know the relevance when you say, oh, well, Joe wasn't actually sitting there. It doesn't matter. He's still using that influence, and he's still leveraging that regardless of whether Joe Biden is sitting next to Hunter or not. And that's the real crime. And everyone's going, it doesn't really matter. No, that's some serious stuff.
I like that. It doesn't really matter.
That's the way they sound, though.
But that to me is crazy that's not going full force investigation.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a serious breach right there of national security.
It's the two tiers of justice in this country on full display. Well, this just didn't start yesterday. I mean, this has been going on for a while with the two different ways that are looked at, because it's all through political eyes instead of how it should be.
Regardless, I think there was a crime committed by Trump, whether it was intentional or otherwise, and so that needs to be looked at. And I don't think we can say, oh, well, because they're not prosecuting other things, then we let that one slide as well. I mean, it doesn't. That doesn't make sense. I think that the president should be held to a very high standard of obeying the law, as should all politicians. Of course, if we do that, then they're all going to be in jail, aren't they?
It'd be empty.
That'd probably be a good thing.
It'd be an empty rotunda
Clean
up there.
Clean house. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I got to ask you guys: do you consider yourself to be average Americans? Would you consider yourself average?
No.
That's kind of a loaded question. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if
Probably
you're
below average.
Well,
in some
that's
ways.
good. That might be good in this case because we'll talk about the average debt that is calculated that the Americans, each average American has.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that when we come back. I'm Roger. Charles is here.
Yep.
There's Rob.
Yeah.
into one source here. Average Americans have over, guess how much in debt?
250,000.
Well, actually, the average here is 54,000.
54, okay.
Debt? Does that include mortgages?
Well, see, that's what I'm wondering about
Credit
that.
card
As
debt.
inflation continues to affect Americans' pocketbooks, a study conducted by one poll for Beyond Finance said that the average American has $54,767 worth of debt, and 56% of the people participating in the study said they owe more for necessities than luxuries. When the 2,000 people in the survey were asked what they would do to be debt free, 32 said, "I would rob a bank." No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
On a bicycle.
So that's what that guy was doing yesterday.
I got debts. I got bills to pay. Come on.
32% said they'd give up social media for a year.
Okay.
31% said they would spend a night in a remote island, and 29 said they would give up internet access.
And 5% said they'd get a job.
For a whole month. Can you imagine if you were not on the internet for a whole month? You
But
think
no one's going to pay you for that. I mean, why not?
I guess
why
that-
not go get another job? Work 2 jobs. I worked 2 jobs for much of my career. 3 jobs sometimes.
multiple
So,
jobs? Well, you are now. You
Well,
have,
I guess,
you have
yeah.
you have different jobs. You
That's
do.
true, but
You're
I mean,
here. I mean, this
yeah,
isn't. This doesn't feed your family, but it does give you.
I got a 16-year-old kid. Forget it.
Gives you
Doesn't even
Coke
start.
machine money. I mean,
I don't really drink Cokes, but nothing against Coca-Cola. I love Coca-Cola. Grams love them, but
there you go.
don't drink Bud Light either, for that matter.
well, but you
a whole
sell
different
it,
issue.
and that's good. That's important.
We do. That's right. Yeah.
It's part of, and I know my wife and I don't know if you had this experience, but
2 golf carts.
Well, let me go back before the 2 golf cart
I'm
days.
just saying.
Before the 2 golf cart
That's some
days,
debt right there.
was high credit card debt. We had a credit card burning in the backyard, and it's like, it was kind of like, we
had
were
a whole,
we were,
ceremony?
We were out of hand. I mean,
Really?
did that ever happen to you, Rob, coming up, or did you've been pretty responsible coming
I mean, everybody's going to incur some debt, like that. I mean, I think everybody ought to have an emergency fund. Something's always. I've always said something's gonna come up.
No doubt.
I mean, it's going to be an unexpected repair, or it's going to be a medical something. It's going to happen.
I'm not sure what the Dave Ramsey amount was, but I've always heard like 3 months of expenses kind of put back, so to speak, in a rainy day kind of fund. So but that's a good idea. But, good on all the folks who have been able to manage themselves where they do not have to buy necessities. If you're buying necessities and going on debt, this is a bad situation.
It is, but I really question the 54,000 in debt per person. I guess
Per
it was, or per
yeah,
family.
yeah.
But I mean, when you look at mortgages and things, car notes, I mean, all of that. I suspect that's credit card debt, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But it just seems to be that's pretty low.
Yeah, because
For one
you were
family.
coming, and I'm like you. I would have come at the higher figure because you think about the mortgages and
Car notes, student loans, which are going to be forgiven
That-
apparently. I wish my car notes would be forgiven. That'd be
wouldn't that be
but-
nice?
Well, if we don't get out of the studio and let Glenn Beck in, we're not going to be able to pay our car notes. So
Yeah.
I
Let's
guess
let him in. He's knocking at the door.
okay.
Nobody's home.
We'll see you all tomorrow. Say goodbye, Charles
Goodbye.
and Rob. Bid farewell.
Bid farewell. Goodbye.
And goodbye, everybody. God bless and buy local when you can.